talk about two aspects of that. One is the introduction of new players into the rights discussion. Obviously, streaming services, but also technology companies more generally. Do you expect that that will be an important element of the distribution picture for your leagues going forward? And then how does that impact the way your broadcasts with your linear partners start to change? Are there different production techniques, presentation techniques, distribution plans that help to make that balance if we are in fact moving from a dominant era into dominance by other types of players and distribution technology? Dave, do you want to?
Sure. Well, first I'll start off by saying I agree with everything you said. And it's not lost on anyone the popularity of the NBA globally. So I mean, it's certainly not in this room. So the answer to your first question is yes. I think that's already happening, right? So it's whether it's Apple or AWS or whoever else you want to throw in that category. They're already really important with regard to the ecosystem and where that's going. And so as we create sort of a matrix for optionality on where we go, they're going to be a part of it. This shift from one to many to direct consumer is happening. We're somewhere in the middle, and it's messy and fragmented, and we don't really all know where it's going. So they're going to be a part of that. It just to what capacity, and I think it's going to depend on the uniqueness and the unique characteristics of our sports and our business. The one other thing I would add to what Scott said is the distribution has evolved significantly, right? We went linear to streaming to social or web to mobile, but the experience is now changing significantly, and that's where streaming like really allows for something to exist that's never existed before, and for you to maybe have new opportunities for monetization where you can add customization features and let fans truly see what they want to see, and take the same set of feeds and create multiple broadcasts, and one might be stat heavy and one might be layered with fun graphics for kids, and so you're using the technology that those platforms provide to grow your business. So I do think producing games in the cloud, and last year we had an incredible success. We were the first league to have an animated live event, live game with ESPN and Disney, the Big City Greens Classic, and that type of experience never existed before. And now I think the NFL is doing a game with Beyond Sports, the same partner, in a couple weeks. I'm sure it's going to be great. We're doing a few more games later this season. So there it is, right? That's kind of innovation happening before our eyes. But those are assets that can be monetized that didn't exist before, and there are more of them. That's just one example, but I think that's also now part of the equation when we're thinking about where do we go and who do we partner with, and also why those companies are going to have more and more value as we move forward.
Yeah, the only other thing I would add on is that we see the media world becoming more fragmented and democratized in the future, meaning that there's going to be more players and more opportunities for you to access content. And so we're going from a world where in the past, decades ago, leagues would just license their content to a third party and sort of let them take it and run with it as the experts in the space. And where we think the world is going, and why we've been investing so much from a baseball standpoint, is that we think the leagues are actually going to be better equipped to produce, televise, stream potentially, and provide tools to a lot of the broadcasters so that we can tell the story of baseball the best. To your point, I think fans are going to look for unique ways to access content and to be able to pick and choose how they want to watch a game. And we think that in the future world, baseball will actually control its own destiny in terms of some of the features and capabilities that we use to produce games. Things like tracking technology, things like sports betting data or other data integrations, things like visualizations that we've been working on. We're spending a lot of time and money to invest into those things because we think it will enhance the baseball viewing experience, so that in a world where today, for example, we're on Turner platforms, ESPN, Disney platforms, Fox, Apple, Peacock. There's a whole host of places that we're making our content available, and to the extent that we're offering services and tools to those broadcasters to make the baseball experience the best it can be, we think that helps drive viewership and engagement in the sport.
Just one add-on to that. It's like really happening, right? So what's an example? Virtual reality has been around for a long time. We all invest in it. We produce some content. We put it out there, but the install base never really grew. So we just stayed with it. Now these things are starting to change because we're seeing the results. That game I referenced before, we were sort of second in share for the night. The audience demographic completely changed. Like, we're seeing that there's an interest and there's consumption behind these new technologies, and I think that's what's going to drive a lot of what they both said.
Yeah, and to your point, the shift from linear to digital unlocks that, because I think you used the right term, which is linear is a one-to-many experience. So you basically are giving the exact same experience to all of your fans, all that have different preferences. Digital unlocks all of this, and your ability to customize, personalize, different feeds, tell different stories. That's a major benefit to this transition.